You're such an asshole.
How do I already have super chats here? This is now I know what it's like to be I know what it's like to be a hot girl on the internet now. I haven't even started. There's already super chats. Oh my god. Hey guys. Why did I go to college? I should just become a hot girl with big tits. It's going to be all my career advice for asshole consulting. What should I do? Be a hot girl with big tits. Oh, okay. As your first mistake there, Punjab. You chose East Indian computer engineer. But I have a super high IQ. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right. So this is an original request. If you have an original request where you pay me to just talk about what I want about, which I will, just by the way, I will inevitably do originals. It's just that when people pay me to answer their questions, they come first, obviously, because they paid. But every once in a while, people are like, I want to hear your thoughts. Which, if I get to talk about why, like, yeah, you don't have to twist my arm. So this came out from Bounding into Comics. And Jesus. No, I don't want the latest breaking news from Bounding into Comics. Lord knows how much this is slowing down my computer right now. But this is a good. It's a great example of actual journalism and math. They quote another website. They're pulling some data from this by box office analyst. And you guys know I'm an economist. I like the maths. I like the numbers because the maths and the numbers don't lie. And you go to somebody living in La La Land, like, here's the numbers. And I'm like, oh, it feeds my soul to see you crushed by reality and your cognitive dissonance struggles to correlate your crappy decisions with reality that keeps destroying you. So here it is. The Little Mermaid declared a massive flop for Disney by box office analysts. YouTuber and box office analyst OMB Reviews. So that's who I want to give credit to. They did as you'll see, they do very good math here. Declared the Walt Disney Company's The Little Mermaid is a massive flop for Disney. Page unresponsive. Just God, Bounding into Comics. Can you just? They have so much stuff loaded. Okay, I'm not endorsing Bounding into Comics anymore. Their website is just filled with all this advertising junk that never works. The Little Mermaid massive flop for Disney following the film's second weekend at the box office. In a video looking at this past weekend's box office numbers, OMB Reviews opened The Little Mermaid dropped 58% domestically, is still making next to nothing internationally. And let's just say the film is essentially guaranteed to not only flop, but also to be a massive flop for Disney and could ultimately be one of the worst performing movies in the entire history. Now, of course, there's a lot of there might be some political motivations, like an anti-woke backlash to this, but this is why I like OMB Reviews, because they do their numbers, and this is not an opinion piece. It's starting to look like it. He argues now, of course, this is all on the fact that many people, when looking at the box office, are failing in the comparisons, especially to Aladdin. Oh my God, the amount of advertisement on this. Especially to Aladdin, remind themselves that the ticket prices back in 2019 were very different than they are today, like 8 or 9%. And 10 to 15%. And also, of course, as everyone loves to always hear, and as everyone always wants to get triggered by, the rate of inflation has changed as well. Scrolling down through a billion advertisements. According to the numbers, The Little Mermaid's box office gross fell 58% in its second weekend at the domestic theaters to just 40.6 million. It grossed 95.5 million in its 3-day opening weekend during Memorial Day weekend. The total domestic box office now sits at 100. That's domestic. 186,000. I'm sorry, 186.2 million. The Little Mermaid did add to its international total, with Deadline reporting it brought in 42.3 million in its second weekend. The film only brought in 68.3 million in its opening weekend internationally. Famously, as an add-on in China, it did 2.5 million. For the price of an average home in the United States now, 2.5 million. The total international box office sits at 140.5 million. The film's global gross sits at, right now, as of this data was published, 326.7 million. Let's just call it 327 million. It reportedly had a production budget of 250 million, meaning the film is still in the red. And as OMB reviews notes, it does not look like it will be turning black anytime soon. Now, you may be confused. You may be saying, wait a minute, it made 326 million globally. It had a budget of 250 million. That's profit, right? Not by a long shot. And this is important, so you know, because what's happening is in the culture and political wars, you basically have the producers and the parasites. You have the normal sane people and the insane. And Disney and Hollywood at all, they have a Marxist leftist agenda. They have a cultural leftist agenda. And so when we get to see that floated, this is like where you get to watch a battle occur every time Disney or Hollywood produces a woke piece of Marxist leftist trash, which The Little Mermaid isn't exactly, but it is a woke product. And so we get to see like how receptive is society to your propaganda. And that's what this is. It's kind of interesting to watch. That's why there's so much controversy or people pay attention to it. So it is important to know whether or not Disney makes money on this or Hollywood, whatever movie they produce, because I like to see evil people lose money. Like you all got sand in your hoo-ha because Jada Pinkett Smith created Black Cleopatra. All right. Do you know how much money she lost? Do you know how much time she wasted? I enjoy this. And sadly, there's such a lack of real good quality movies coming out of Hollywood nowadays that the main form of entertainment is just watching these train wrecks happen. And I do mean that. Because when we get to the numbers here, you know, you say, well, wait, they made 327 million in sales, 250 million in a budget. They made 75 million. No, because the movie production house, Disney, in this case, they only get half the sales. The other half goes to the theaters. Right? There's also advertising expenses they incur, which I guess they don't really, no one really knows for sure, but I guess you just double the budget. So if it's a $250 million production budget, they're going to spend another $250 million advertising it. So Disney has to outlay $500 million on this. All right, $500 million is what it really costs Disney to produce and advertise. And they only get half the sales. So if it's $500 million expense, they need $1 billion. Did I do the math right? They're going to need $1 billion. Yeah. Because they get half, and then they break even. $500 million is $500 million. So that just so you know, now they go into more detailed numbers here. But if you're ever wondering, the real quick formula is like, okay, you take their budget, you double it. That's how much they got to make to break even. You take the revenues, you cut it in half. That's the revenues that go to Disney or whatever Hollywood production companies out there. So here we go. The film's gross sits at $327 million. It reportedly had a production budget of $250 million, meaning the film is still in the red. And as OMB reviews notes, it does not look like it will be turning black anytime soon. And the reason they can predict that, and the reason I put the title in that, they got a long way to go. A long way to go. So 326 million, that's what, 167? Let's just call it 165. Okay, 165 million that they get to take home, and they got a $500 million expense. I love it. Look, to all of you in Disney who aren't listening, I know you're from my generation. Let's go into history. Let's go into Gen X history. Time for gather round, kids. Time for a sermon in Gen X history. In the olden days, in the 90s, when the current generations of corporate leaders were being in college and indoctrinated, they were very seriously in business schools. They were taught that politics was more important than profits, which is just not true. Because if you don't have profits, you don't have a company no more. All right. The whole point of a corporation and going into business is to provide a good service at a good price for people, and you make profit on top of it, like to maximize profits. And usually the business model is good products at a good price with a little profit margin and a good volume. All right. That's pretty simple business model. Not in the 90s. Gen X leaders who are currently heading up corporate America now and Disney, they were told, I remember I was in business school. They were told like, oh, it was what I call profit plus politics. You weren't good enough just being an accountant. You weren't good enough being a movie producer. You had to have the right politics. You had to go beyond. Like, you're not good enough being a brain surgeon. I'm not. I save lives all the time. No. You need to be a brain surgeon plus you for the environment. And you saw this going back into the 90s. To go look back, look at your Gen X history. Everyone know about to page 312. It's about the time they came in. Well, we're going green. We're going organic. Started with the coffee companies, start with the coffee shops. This is fair trade. This is free trade. And now it's all over. And it is, I would say, so core to the purpose and existence and value of most people who are leading corporate America today, that they're not even aware of profits. They really aren't. Now, the accounting department is definitely aware, and inevitably the financial markets, meaning the investors, are going to be aware, saying like, hey, I'm sick of, I'm sure all of you shareholders in Anheuser-Busch are aware. Or was it Miller Coors, Molson Coors, whatever? I'm sure you guys are aware. And inevitably it'll get there, and inevitably it's like, we're not investing in you anymore. And soon there won't be any money, either through sales or investors, and you're all going to go belly up quicker than a Silicon Valley startup. Started up with daddy's money. Now, Disney has billions in cash and reserves, but over time, you can't run a company that loses money on every movie it makes because your politics trump profits. But at the head, you're like, why are they doing this? Like common sense people with real jobs, people who have had sex. They're really like, wait a minute, you're going to lose money pretty soon. You got to shut they don't know. Not only do they not care, they don't know. You think, I don't know, Becky over in the marketing department knows anything about budgeting? You think creatives at Disney, whether it's the writers or the marketing, you think they have any clue about a budget? They're still begging for a student loan bailout for the theater arts degree. And so only we, us normal people and the accounting department at Disney, are acutely aware that, and investors. Everyone keeps asking, I don't know, why do they keep doing it? They're not aware of, they've never been held to a budget in their life. Mom and dad paid for college. They want a student loan bailout if they still got student loan debts. They go to the banks. They got bailed out of their mortgages back in the olden days in 2007, 2000. You have adult children who don't know how to budget, who are now corporate executive types over at Disney. Definitely the art and creative department. But they don't care. I guarantee you probably can find some videos somewhere like, we're going to keep on shoving the woke message down America's throat. Right? Although, what is it? Bob Iger, is he the old new guy? He was there before, now he's back. Oh, man, I hate to have his job, but he knows what he's doing. He's got gray hair and he's a white man. So he obviously, listen to that guy. But no, listen to the numbers. So I find it a fascinating train wreck where financial reality is heading full steam into woke ideology. And I got news for you. Financial reality wins all the time. So I don't care what delusion Bob Iger is saying right now. These are facts. These are numbers. You know how many corporate executives in banking I had tell me I was wrong about the housing market? Guess who won in the end? Reality. Meaning the film is still in the red, and it's got to do what? It's got to come 160 to 500, $340 million. That means you got to double that. So it's 700 million in future sales they got to bring in. Now watch the rest of the numbers they do here. OMB reviews notes, it does not look like it will be turning black anytime soon. While comparing the film to Aladdin, which released on Memorial Day weekend back in 2019, OMB Review says, I would suspect, based on the tracking and based off of the percentage, we're looking at this movie maybe being able to get to 300 million domestically. Maybe. We still have to wait to see if that's ever going to happen yet. But ultimately, 300 million domestically might sound decent on paper, especially when you compare it to a film like Fast X. But look at the international number. The Aladdin movie back in 2019 made $788 million internationally, he continued. So far, The Little Mermaid has only made $140 million. And that means you're looking at best case scenario for domestic, maybe 350 million, best scenario, OMB Reviews analyzed. You're looking at international best case scenario of 250 million. Is that being generous? I think. So 350, let's just say 350 domestic, 250 foreign. That puts you at 600,000. With $1 billion, that's a $400 million loss. Okay, maybe I'm a little high on that, but the marketing numbers, a $400 million worst case scenario loss, 200 million best case scenario loss, 40% to 20% of $1 billion gone. Oh, Roz, would it be wonderful if all this money just blew away? You can't run a company that every movie it makes loses $250 million. But the creatives and the touchy-feely diversity wokies who are now at senior or corporate level management, they think you can. What do you mean the electricity isn't on? You didn't pay your electric bill. Well, can't we just make more woke crap? No. Oh, all of America and the Chinese are racist for not watching our woke crap. Yeah, that's fine. It still ain't going to pay your electric bill. You add up these numbers, that doesn't get you to 625 million, which is the break-even point. All right, so he says 625 million. All right, so yeah, not a good overall look for The Little Mermaid going forward, he described. Later in the video, OMB Reviews shared his breakdown of the film and its box office hauls. First, he explains this process. This is what I liked about this. If you've maybe never followed my chart before, I was able to break this down years ago that most movies will make either 70% of their entire box office within the first 2 weeks, or if they have really strong legs, if they have a really strong performing box office, they'll make half their entire box office in the first 2 weeks. So if it's got some staying power, like say Maverick, or fascinating, if you want to do some history, go look at what's that horrible movie all the girls want to watch where the guy always died? The Jews always escape Egypt, no matter how many times you read Exodus, and Leonardo DiCaprio always dies. Titanic had legs because teen girls went to see it 1 million times in the box office. And so generally you will capture most of your sales first 2 weeks, but if it has longevity to it, and like reviews like Maverick did, you get 50 in the first 2 weeks. All right. But a month, that's it. You could call it. Like the political talking heads, they call the election. We got enough in. We can do the statistical analysis, except for Trump and Hillary, by the way. We're going to call it. If they have really strong performing box office, they'll make half their entire box office in the first 2 weeks. There are obviously exceptions to this, but on average, the vast majority of films fall somewhere between 70 and 50% number. So let's assume that the 326 million is 70% of the entire box office for The Little Mermaid. That means that the end result, so this is they're quoting him just talking. He's not writing. That's why this is a little jarred. So this is a very likely scenario for this movie would be 466 million worldwide, he explains. His estimate says 625 for a cost, so that's a $200 million loss. I'd say more. It depends on what the marketing budget was. A best case scenario. So let's say it doubles its money. Best case scenario would be 650 million, he continued. This is a best case scenario. We are already seeing in the legs for this movie, it is not holding to that extent. It is not doubling, and it is not going to double what it has made so far. But even if it did, 650 million would be a minimal profit, and according to some metrics, be a financial loss. Or that because there's overhead and all that too. It really depends on whether your break even is 2.5 or 3 times the budget. So even if they did, quote, make money, it would still not be nearly enough to make up for any discrepancies in either direction because it'd be such a minimal profit that it doesn't really mean all that much in the first place, or it would still be a financial loss. OMB reviews elaborate. Now, let me add another insight from the financial world, because exceptional job analyzing the profit loss of this film. But from finance perspective, not only do you have to worry about profit just so that you don't lose money and have to file for bankruptcy, but if you ever want to access money in the financial markets, and what that means is you want to borrow money or get, like, you Disney wants to build a new park, and the new park, which be located wherever, is going to cost $5 billion. Disney may not have $5 billion in cash sitting on its accounts. So you would go to the financial markets, you would go to the banks and the investment houses, and you would either borrow the money or you would sell some shares and equity of Disney, sell some shares to equity investors, and you would go and raise the $5 billion. And most people don't think about this in the future. Like, well, so what? It lost a little bit of money, or it at least made a little bit and earned it back. People don't invest in companies to break even. Like, if I go to you and I say, hey, invest in Cappy's Car Wash for $10,000. And then I say, well, I didn't make any profits this year, or I'll never make any profits, but I didn't lose any money either. I just break even all the time. You're like, give me my money back. I didn't give you $10,000 not to make money. I could do stuff with that. All right. But now on the grand scale, just add a couple more zeros. It's the exact same thing. Why would investment houses, why would lenders invest in Disney? It would certainly lend it. Banks lend, 5, 6, 7%. That's not a high rate of interest, but they want a little bit of rate of return on the money they lend out. Disney gets a 0% rate of return, not a loss. 0%. You can't even pay your interest. And so investment sources dry up. So you can't even expand. And that's another thing people don't really think about. So even if it did make money, it would not be nearly enough. Minimal profit, OMB reviews. Scrolling down a little bit more. Of course, all the advertising. He then shared his prediction for how much the film will make globally. What is more like... Oh, hang on. Of course. Do you remember the days when the internet was nice? He then shared his prediction for how much the film will make globally. What is more likely to happen? Somewhere around, I would say, 500 million is probably what this film could expect to have, especially based on the drops that we're seeing, with, I think, the best case scenario for it actually being the average of around 550 or 560 million. What does that mean? Because of its massive $250 million budget, that means right now I'm projecting the film to lose around 100 million, but it could make as much as 17 million. That's the high end. 17 million. Again, that's using a 2.5 multiplier. You would obviously see this film still lose money if it was a 3 times a multiplier. OMB reviews explain. On average, I expect this film to lose somewhere between 50 and 100 million, and that is at minimum, he declared. And that's that. That's it. Written by John F. Trent. Good work there. Just a little schizophrenic website you got going on. So there you guys go. It is a flop. The people have spoken. They're going to run cover. Already there's articles out there about, the Little Mermaid isn't liked because it's racist. And I think Endymion, no, I don't think. I know Endymion has been doing a series on wokeism where people are just sick of it. Like in my day, the girls poofed up their bangs. Go look up 80s hair, poofy bangs. That's what they did. And the guys had mullets. That went away. And I think this fad where, using woke as advertising, because here's another thing, go back to Gen X business major history. Keep in mind, these people don't know anything else. Like the marketing executives, you saw this brilliantly with all the beer ads and all that. These 30-something, 40-something people, they don't know anything but to pander to traits you were born with. Traits, whatever it might be, your race, your gender, your sexual preference, religion, whatever else. They don't know how to be clever. They don't know how to sell a product based on like, hey, it's better quality and lower price, like things that everybody would like. They really are within their own academic echo chamber. Then they go to a corporate echo chamber, and they are so far removed from normal people. They don't know how to market to normal people anymore. And so you could, for those of us looking outside, like, why don't they get this? Why don't they're not normal people. This is literally the only thing they got. And so when it doesn't work out, also according to their conditioning, you're not talking about independent minded, but you're talking about brainwashed adults. The only reason the marketing didn't work or the thing failed is because you hate the group we're marketing to, which gets really tiring. Being accused of something as despicable as bigotry, whatever form, racism, sexism, doesn't matter, when you're not. Like, I'm not gonna go see The Little Mermaid. Well, I didn't go see The Little Mermaid, the cartoon. Why? Because I'm a guy. The only way I would have gone and seen the original cartoon Little Mermaid was to get laid, to like, oh, get you in the moon, oh, under the sea, do 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 do. Now we make out. What? I watched this ridiculous movie for you with a singing fish. Can we make out now? No, it doesn't work that way. Fine, I'm out of here. But then being told on top of it for a movie already I didn't have an interest in the original. I sure as hell don't have interest in what actually is a racist movie, race swapping all the freaking time, and it turns out a crappy movie on top of it. If you watch The Despot, Critical Drinker, It's a Gundam, it's a bad movie on top of it. No. Society, us normal people, the producers of society, we're sick of woke trash. We're sick of it. And I don't know, but maybe Disney, Budweiser, Target, whatever literally the Fortune 500, all these large woke corporations, you guys are going to have to get back to brass tacks. You're going to have to take politics and ism and ists out of your marketing and just create a good product at a good price. And you sell it to everybody. And everyone is happy. I'll talk about it a little later. I went into Target. Target number one. The first Target's in Roseville, Minnesota. Look it up. There wasn't any gay pride stuff. I'm like, are you starting to realize how condescending and insulting it is to everyone? Like, oh my God, you like licking this genitalia? We're so you, buy our crap. I think society's kind of getting sick of it. And we sure as hell ain't going to take it in our entertainment. Oh my God, we all got real jobs to work. We don't work at Disney like, under the sea, oh, sushi hand delivered to us. We got real jobs. We don't want to be reminded, oh my God, did you know, look, black vagina in your face right here. Look at that, right there. Can I just watch a movie? Can for once it not be about black vagina? Can we just have that? No, ancient Egyptian black vagina, Cleopatra. Yeah, I'm not watching that. So there you go. It is a big flop. People, I would say, generally, regardless of politics, don't like politics in their entertainment. Disney, I encourage you to keep being woke. I would love to see you go dormant like you did from like the mid 60s to the mid 80s. I think you'd need another 20-year wandering into the desert. It'd be perfectly all right if you go away. And then what I'd recommend you guys start watching some Japanese or general Asian films, Japanese and Chinese films, some great classics. There's been more films made than we have life expectancy to watch. There's some great classics. You don't have to watch this new crap, and you guys aren't, and it's wonderful. But by all means, Disney, you keep making shit. Keep making shit. Keep losing your money. Keep the people in charge who are unaware of financial reality. That's fine. That's okay. Keep accusing us of bigotry and discrimination and other sins. All right, that's fine. Keep on going because you're not going to win. You will not win. And for those of you that are upset when they obviously do this woke crap, just rejoice that they're losing money. And what was it? Oh, Enron can't go bankrupt. Like there are these General Motors can't go bankrupt. They can't. Oh no, there's established American. Go, just watch. And you may live to see the day that Disney goes bankrupt. It would be great. Although they're they're not their theaters. They're if you take a time to look at their financial statements, their theme parks are basically floating the rest of the company. Their theme parks are very profitable. Their media division, not so much. All right, now let's go to the super chats, where we have wow. All right, well, very generous super chats. Steve Ross, 20 generous dollars. Do you think that the Rust Belt will ever recover? I think the abundance of fresh water will cause an influx of people from the western United States. I don't think I think even with California ineptitude, I think that push comes to shove, they will actually start creating desalination plants and pump water. If not, they'll pump it from the Pacific Northwest where there's an abundance. The Rust Belt already has kind of recovered. I know so this is a while ago too. In the 80s, several car manufacturers went and set up plants down in Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, I believe, because Detroit was too unionized. That's quite some time ago. And I think more just the retirement community. People are moving down there because it's warm. Water, I've never really factored into it. Our New Zealand agent in the field. Channel 1800 Dom, 11 generous New Zealand dollars. Sending Gahay love from New Zealand, Cappy. Cap, hot, but seriously, they are destroyed with woke. Brad Pitt as Kunti Kunti, Ann Coulter as Fanta, and Vlad Elkins as Chicken George. Roots the Return. I don't know. Are those the characters from Roots? I've always thought it'd be great to as a political statement is you buy the rights to Shaft and you have some schmucky like cardigan tied around frat boy, but like completely clueless, big blonde pompadour white guy with bright blue eyes. Hey, and he talked like Winston Howell the Third, and you make a remake of Shaft. Can you jig it? Just this schmaltzy guy. But I don't have the time or the money or the inclination. This is a problem that solves itself. It really is. You can't. I mean, hang on. Let me look up. Well, they got billions. They could do it for a long time. I mean, Disney could lose. I'd have to look up what their equity is and how much cash and all that. But Disney could lose 200 million a movie for I think 100 years, like 2 billion. No, 20 billion. Oh yeah, I'm sure they could make it. They could go. So this may never go away. What probably is going to end up happening with a lot of corporations is you're going to see they're going to become like, how nerdy do you want to get, economists? They're going to become like the Japanese kuretsus or the Korean chaebols, where they're just these net zero profit dinosaurs. They're horrendously inefficient and corrupt, and they just become vehicles by which woke people can go and practice their witchcraft and make believe they're actual adults who produce products and services for the rest of us to consume. And they'll get bailed out by the government. So it almost becomes like a little playground we create for the wannabes of society. So they could go on for a century. But no one's going to see the private. Here's another thing. Let me give you another thing to consider. Jada Pinkett Smith beforehand was mostly known for banging whatever was it? Yeah, she's married to Will Smith, having an affair on Will Smith. Okay, so that's what you're known for, right? Yay. Now she's known for making people are going to look back in history and say, look at this idiot. Like, that's her legacy. Here's this crazy black woman. And she's crazy. I mean, she's not like schizophrenic or anything, but it's like, yeah, you're just not adhering to reality. You're just this crazy black woman. Look at this idiot. Look at this fool. Like, I think they even made, like, Nero fiddled, but there was also a horse who was an emperor at one time in the Roman Empire. Like, that, if she even achieves that modicum of notoriety, and she wasted her life, she's a laughing stock. People are like, what? They don't even know her name. They're just like, what crazy woman did that? And I don't know. I got way more important things to do than how dumb would it be for me to go like, well, actually, the king of the Zulus was a Scandinavian Spaniard Jewish man named Aranus Maximus. Like that would, and then like I put myself up there because that's what all these people do, like Mandy Klang. Look at me. Oh, I'm on the theater. What peak arrogance and assholery is this? You guys like, look at this arrogant prick over here. Be a horrible movie too. You don't want me being a Zulu. I'm a little short. You line up all like legit Zulus, like legit. I presume they're taller. I don't know, but warrior, no joke, ripped, shredded. And there's a short little white dude. It's just tall, bloop, tall. Yeah, let's get him, guys. Let's go. I got my magic paint. Those bullets ain't gonna stop me. My truth. The king. $10. Not only will we run reckless, morally hazardous operations, but if you cozy up to the correct people, they will bail you out with taxpayer dollars. Now, 2008 bank bailouts and student loan bailouts read. It would not surprise me, mark my words, that I even did this where, what was it? It's all a LARP. All corporate America is a LARP, where if we constantly bail out firms, then there doesn't have to be an adherence to reality. And just like Wall Street and bankers did back, multiple times throughout history, actually, but more recently, the 2008, 2009 bailout, where you have to understand the whole industry got bailed out, which means all of them, all bank employees, all, including the corporate executives, were failures. No matter how fancy building that Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, whatever else, I don't care how fancy your buildings were. I don't care how fancy, you all failed. You're all losers. But we bailed them out. So what's the ultimate end of the economy now? What do? Well, we play. It's a big sandbox. Maybe it was called the sandbox economy, where we all get to make believe and imagine that we're like, ooh, I'm a banker. Ooh, I'm a nurse. Ooh, I'm a corporate executive. Ooh, I'm an academic. And then you always get bailed out by the government. So there is no adherence to reality. There's no adherence to like efficiency. Like, no, the product you make has to be good enough that it's profitable, that you produce more value than what it costs, because that's ultimately what profit is. And the government will just print off more money and bail you out. And you wonder why things are so expensive. So it was the banks, and it's the students. That it wouldn't surprise. I mean, we bailed out the auto industry. It wouldn't surprise me if we start bailing out everything else. Like Disney. Oh, you've made, and then ultimately what that means is you've become government art, which is absolute shit. Wow. Disney's already achieved that without even being part of the government. You've created absolute shit. Because, no offense, but it's accurate. Your people are shit. You're not talented. All you got is more black women. Now a gay person. Ooh, lesbian kiss. You're NPCs. You're program. You're robots. You're the Borg. Critter Dude 311. A bit of irony. Disney supports a political agenda which is ultimately anti-family. Yeah, because that's the popular thing. Guys, you got all organizations that just made up of people. And you got to look, okay, who is populating this current organization? There's the Disney Corporation, which was founded, Lord knows when, 1930s? I don't know, whenever Walt Disney. All right, so there's this legal entity. 4 or 5 generations have come through there now. It is merely a group of people today who work for the Disney Corporation. And whereas there may be a legacy and a hold of, Disney is for families, or at least that's its reputation, it is populated by probably, I guarantee you look at the corporate executive boards or the leaders and the managers, most of them don't have kids. Most of them don't have families. I'd say most of them are miserable. And I can almost guarantee, I can't, we'd have, I don't know how we prove it. So therefore, I would speculate more than half of the people who are, I'm not talking the guys who dress up in the Disney costume at Disneyland, but the manager, the white collar workers at Disney, guarantee you over half of them are on some kind of antidepressant, because these are miserable, talentless, worthless people. And it shows in their work. It's like, wow, this is crap. Absolute crap. And I'm not a creative. I'm not an author. But in a weird, ironic sense, I've become one. Didn't mean to. Because I don't know, I had real world experience. Mom and dad didn't pay for my way through college. Oh, yeah, go right. I'm a 17-year-old. I want to go work for Disney. Never had any real experience in life. By God, you get into Disney. What was it? Oh, the perfect example of that. She-Hulk. That's not Disney. Who is that? Is that Disney? It's Marvel. Yeah, so, right? Go through all the female writers. It's all female writers. Go. I bet you go through their background. There's not one instance where they ever went through trial tribulation. Not once. They've had just an easy life. Pampered, mom and dad pay for everything. They all come from the suburbs. Guarantee. And then what kind of milky toast crap are they going to write? Oh, they're going to write this privileged freaking entitled bitch. It's She-Hulk. Go do it. Someone, not me, do it. I got other things. I got to spend time with my nieces. I get to spoil my nieces today. Get to spoil them. Lots of money, lots of sugar. But I get you can go to the entire writing staff of She-Hulk. You're not going to find one military veteran. You're not going to find one chemical engineer. You're not going to find an accountant. You're not going to find a landscaper or a roofer. You're not going to, these girls didn't even like shovel driveways when they were young. You're just going to see a bunch of truly, with the definition modernly and functionally, privileged, I hate to say it, worthless human beings. Because I don't know what value they be to anybody else. Like, go look at them. Go tell me what value they are. What are you? What are you? What did you do? What do you got? Do you got like a good value system? Do you know the value and the importance of other people? Obviously not. You just wrote a bunch of crap. You dropped trial, you shat it out. You say, oh my God, She-Hulk. I don't even think they're human. I mean, by this time, they're just programmed. I mean, like, look, an AI robot could have just wrote leftist Marxist crap with She-Hulk as the character. Steve Ross, $5. I know you grew up around here, but is Milwaukee a cool city? No, it isn't. And now, in fairness, though, I was not 21 or older when I was in Milwaukee. I left at 17. I've been back a couple times. Are there some cool bars? Yes. Is it a cool city? No, it's just another Midwest crap hole. It's just another leftist crap hole. It looks very German-esque and walkable. Go have fun. Go have fun hanging out with arrogant people from the suburbs and dangerous criminals in the city. Go have fun. Enjoy the snow. No, Milwaukee. The people are just, I have an entire video on Wisconsin. Go watch my video on Wisconsin people, Wisconsinites. God, I used to have good vision. I hate leftist filth. $5. My Vanguard online account had ads with two guys cuddling. I complained to customer service a couple days later. They were gone. I went to, my gym is Anytime Fitness. There were tampons in the men's room. And I went to the staff person. They have staff. I'm like, why are there tampons in the men's room? And they said, well, so everyone, the bathrooms are open to everyone. I'm like, okay, guess what a video is going to be made about later? And I am going to be giving up my Anytime Fitness gym. There's Planet Fitness. There's other places I can go. I was thinking about grabbing them and like throwing the tampons up on their ceiling. I'm like, that'd be kind of childish. I'm like, oh, wait, I guess I can just take them down more. By the way, Anytime Fitness, not the people who run it. If you have Anytime Fitness, there's another woke company. There's another one like, yeah, I don't want tampons in the men's bathroom. I just don't. Our future MD1, too. Black dude here. We hate the race swap. I got to imagine you got to be so freaking pissed off that they can't create. Okay, this is going to go way back. Everyone get in your way back chair. And you're going to have to be a special type of maybe nerd, but of a certain age. Do you guys remember Static Shock, the cartoon? It wasn't, nothing is Batman, the original series. Nothing that just is this amazing work of art that we all enjoyed. But Static Shock was pretty good, and it was original. And it happened to have a black guy. I know there's Blade, and everyone goes back and points to different, characters in history. But Static Shock never gets referenced enough. I thought it was a very good B+, A- effort, and I enjoyed it. I was a full-grown adult when it came out, and I still enjoyed it. Why can't, how much, let's reverse the thinking a little bit. Forget going back in the past. That Static Shock's what, 30 years old now? how many awesome non-white characters and female, how many non-white and female or female, how many comic book characters or just John Creasy from what's one of my favorite movies? Not Last Man Standing. Why can't I remember it? Denzel Washington was the character. Why can't I remember it? Man on Fire. How many Man on Fires have we lost? How many Static Shocks? How many in the past 30 years, instead of race swapping or gender swapping, how many actual cool characters could we have had that we could have all freaking enjoyed if Disney just had some creative talent? They got all the money in the world. They got all the marketing and networking in the world. They just don't have any creative talent. That's the problem. It's the people populating Disney, like I said before. And this is why people like Critical Drinker and Shadowmare Comics, look them up. Where who else? Well, Day by Day Cartoon, if you want to watch it. Other people are creating their own comics. Theodore Beale, I can't remember his stage name. People are now making alternative productions, alternative movies, comic books, which is great, and that's great for them. But the people, ironically, that have billions of dollars and what has to be $100 billion market value of a network like Disney has, they can't produce anything good. They are so void of talent and real life experience. It's genuinely worthless people. What? How many? I gotta imagine at least 20. There would have been 20 genuine, new, authentic. We got Black Panther, and that was well received, at least the first movie anyway. And the guy tragically died, but that's the only one we could really point to. But they already had that out of Marvel. Like, where's the not Marvel one? Where's the new? Like, someone's sitting in the accounting department somewhere, and he's got this idea for a character, and the character happens to be Latino, and that's sit down, Disney creatives. That's not his number one asset. He just happens to Jose Escobar. That's it. But he's got this crazy story, and he's got a path he goes down, and we all end up liking Jose. Oh man, that Jose guy is awesome. And then we start dressing up like Jose in Halloween. You know, like, what if John Wick just happened to be Hispanic? That's all I'm saying. No, you guys can't do it. Hollywood can't do it because you don't have the ability to create a John Wick. It ultimately is indifferent. Like, do you want your car blue or do you want it black? I don't know. Make it blue. Oh, a blue car. Oh my God, a black man. No, we can't do that. We just gotta go grab Ariel, a redhead mermaid. We gotta make her black. God. Hand Clogs, $5. Cappy, if you get a Zelda game, I got it. It's pretty good. It's just Call of the Wild 2. It's the exact same thing. Get Breath of the Wild first. I've played it. Yep, I got that. Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel. Happy Cappy month. See, thanks, Hat, you dick. Happy Song or the Pride one. Steve Ross, $2. John Woo action movies. Yeah. Look, I assume, let me give you guys something you guys can do. And this will take months, if not years, for you to do. You all should watch the old classic World War II movies, like Guns of Navarone, The Longest Day, The Great Escape, Where Eagles Dare, Force 10 from Navarone. Just watch Run Silent Run. Just go watch them all if you haven't seen them. I'd say the last good World War II movie made was called The Great Raid. Some people would argue Midway, but I'd watch The Great Raid. You don't have to watch this slop. You don't have to watch this crap in the theaters. Just go. You get them for free at the library. Just some good old flicks. Oh, The Bridge Over River Kwai. He escapes. The guy escapes a prison camp only to have to get sent back to lead an assault. Oh, you guys got to watch that one where the Australians pick him up. I'm not giving away this show. This guy escapes a Japanese prisoner war camp by acting like an officer, so he got better treatment. And Australian intelligence, they Well, they pick him up. He escapes and they pick him up. And like, yes, we knew about you faking being an officer, which would send you right to jail. So you're going to lead our assault back to the camp. The guy's William Holden's face. Yeah, pip, pip. Oh. YouTube viewer, $10. The first week, movie companies get about 80% of the price of the tickets, and 20% goes to the theater, and a couple weeks later, then flips. Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. Thank you for that information there, YouTube viewer. That'll help in my analysis going forward. Did you know, Mad? 2.2 Canadian, a job offer asked about my pronouns and gender. Left. There you go. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yep. I'm getting rid of Anytime Fitness. I'm done. I'm not tolerating it. You all look, you can make change. Target doesn't have any woke pride stuff. Target #1 didn't have any woke pride stuff, which now kind of goes too far the other way, where it's like, okay, you can have, not that you shouldn't, but like, I was like, wow. Usually my eyes are getting raisined, whereas like, oh my God. Snow Dub. Oh wait, did I get that one? Anime is better, not woke, yes. And they care about story versus politics. Japan doesn't care. Hence, Super Mario and Alita did well, and Little Mermaid didn't. Imagine that. The story about an Italian plumber and his brother and his girlfriend and a angry turtle. That was just about having fun. I didn't see it, but it's Mario. It's Nintendo. Snow Dub, $5. I wanted to apply to the Jim Henderson department of Disney. Says I'm a puppeteer. They denied me. Said they weren't looking for straight white men. Oh, there you go. No, I mean, let's also be very clear. Disney is racist. They are sexist. They hate white and they hate men. All right, those two categories. They really hate white men, but they hate whites and they hate men. All right, so if you think, well, I'm a black guy, no, they hate you too. Look down below. You see a nice, glorious black penis? They hate you. But it's a glorious, nice, shiny black penis. Doesn't matter. Is it a penis? They hate you. Welcome to the Penis Club. Thank you, World. Hi, my name's Eris. Hi, Aaron, and I have a penis. Hello, Aaron. Willie Mendoza, $2. Got a Toyota Corolla. My beat-up car left me. What do you mean your beat-up car left you? Toyota Corolla's a good car. Channel 1800 Dumb, $5.50 again. Awesome to catch you live. Well, yeah, what time is it over there? I mean, I guess, it's got to be late. How's your sister, by the way? Give her my love. Give her my best. Tell her I'm always waiting for a gorgeous redhead to swim upon my shores. Flamin' TP, Tree Fitty. Tree Fitty today. Tree Fitty later might need your advice. Well, $350 will get you a lot of advice. Just so you know, one-on-one consultations are $300 for an hour, not even $350. And the reason I charge so much is I hate doing them. And 9 out of 10 times you don't need me talking to you for an hour. And I don't want to talk to you for an hour. I'm like, if we fix this stuff in 15 minutes, you get the hell out of my face. So yeah, send me, if you got a question, go to assholeconsulting.com and send it over. And we'll do that there. But usually it rarely goes to $300. All right, that's it. Well, anyway, thank you very much for the kind donations. Thank you for I don't think that happened before where I get in, there's already super chats. And guys, just don't let Disney and this woke crap bother you. Just vote with your wallet. Leave. You don't have to see Disney movies. You don't have to go to Anytime Fitness. You don't have to just walk away. And you know what? Soon the money's going to run out. People are going to get fired. Then maybe they're going to have to make good products at a good price for good people. I think link below I got a link to the book Enjoy the Decline. And if you're still angry, let me give you some light at the end of the tunnel. Also link below is a link to my essay called Sanity is the Future of Wealth. Just pick that up. I try to keep it purposely cheap because it is only an essay. It's only like 40 pages long. Go read through that. These people are miserable, guys. Do you think Mandy Kalang is happy? Do you think any of the writers, do you think anyone associated with She-Hulk is happy? Do you think the people who wrote the Little Mermaid, anyone who's the actress involved, do you think any of these people are happy? They got millions of dollars, right? You give me $1 million. I don't care how crap the show is. I got my $1 million. They're so vainly invested. Jada Pinkett Smith, you think she's happy? I don't think that woman's ever smiled in her life. They're all miserable. And don't you be miserable. You don't have to get, but go pick it up and realize, like, these people aren't, forget being happy. These people aren't even sane. And so sanity is going to be a future form of wealth. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.